We getting ready to blow. We getting ready to blow. We getting ready to, so ready to, oh so ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to, so ready to, oh so ready to.
We ready for jump ball, center court now, standing tall now, hold the fort down. This is showtime, more than sports now, more than crunch time. We rush like fourth down.
I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now, we ready for prime time, ready for shine now. Be ready to get mine. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
We getting ready to, so ready to, oh so ready to blow.
What up, Fly? I think I see you out there. What's going on, sir? Yo, let's do this. Let's do this until we're ready here. We getting ready to, so ready to blow. Whoa, oh. Y'all don't want to hear me sing that, but you know, that's what you get when you tune in early. What up, Tree? I see you out there. I see you. What up, good people? You checking out the ProQuo Show. And I'm sitting kind of low, but that's okay. That's okay. We getting ready to. I'm just enjoying the singing. Personally, my headphones are a little funny, getting all in. I got the cheap headphones in, but that's all good. Let's do this. Let me go bang like that until Fly is good. Yo, so you checking out the ProQuo Show. My name is Pro. Short for Professor Lyrical, if you did not know, but I think you probably know. Unless you've never checked this out before, then you don't. That episode 4 right there, I haven't changed that yet. That is from another show that I do on Sundays with my man Bernard. So want to promote that. We do a show called Introverse, and it's not quite as interactive, although we encourage it to be. We broadcast it also on Clubhouse, if you check out the Clubhouse world. And we talk about being introverts, being outward-facing introverts. My man Bernard is a rapper like myself. He's amazing, spoken word artist, poet, philosopher, educator. So we have a lot in common on that front. And we do our show at 2:30 on Sundays. So check that out if you want. We talk about all things about creative, everything about being an introvert, in a social setting, but in a creative setting, being extroverts, or tapping into our inner extrovert. So yeah, that's it. And you know, if you guys saw the flyer that I was doing for this week, you probably saw the general idea that I've been feeling like under this pressure by everybody. I don't know what it is. I don't know about y'all, but I've been feeling this pressure all week to talk about the Will Smith situation. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I didn't post on it. I didn't get into the whole discussions too much online. I was like, nah, there's enough people doing that. Enough, and then little by little people like, oh, you're gonna be talking about Will Smith, right? And I was like, not really. Hope not. And then sure enough, more and more people like, yo, can't wait to check out what you got to say about Will Smith. And I was like, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna be talking about Will Smith like that. And then I got into some discussions that were kind of offline, as I'm sure everybody out there has. I'm sure even if you were trying to avoid it, that you were brought into those discussions. But my feeling is that people weren't trying to avoid it. I mean, people were just looking to talk, and what it connects to is what we were talking about being introverts and extroverts and that kind of stuff. And like, is it a fact that people are just longing for like human conversation again now that the world is kind of trying to make that rebound and get somewhere back to the semblance of normalcy, as we say. More and more people are doing things outside, whatever, and then it just feels like, yo, this is a conversation that everybody can engage on. Everybody has an opinion, and it was like, oh, everybody take to the respective corners, jump out on your favorite social media, you know what I mean? And that's what everybody kind of did. And before you could even say boo, it was just like every post. I mean, if you're on Clubhouse, there had to have been, no exaggeration. Normally, when you're in Clubhouse, you see the list of all the kinds of rooms that sort of appeal to the things that you follow. And I would have to say it was, typically you might see 100 rooms if you really follow a lot of people. So somewhere between like say 20 and 100 rooms, you'll be able to scroll down and see. And I would argue that 30 of those rooms were like Will Smith rooms, and that's just one social media app. You know what I'm saying? That's just one place where people were chiming in to see what the news was. And I used to do that with Twitter. If y'all like me, I would use Twitter to kind of be the place that I would just kind of find out what was going down. You know what I mean? And just kind of like the news, follow the hashtag or what have you. And I do that now a little bit with Clubhouse too. I'll just say, what are people talking about? So I made this right here. I think you might be able to see it in a sec. Let me pull it up this way. I think I can do it over here. Let's try. Bang. Trying to get it for you. Probably have to do it as an overlay. Let's try it this way. So this was the flyer. If you didn't see the full flyer for the show, this is what we did. So, and let me get rid of this silly caption here. Get rid of that. So yeah, I've been avoiding it all week. Finally have to give in. Can't avoid it. Talking a bit of Will, Chris, and Jada. And so the crazy part is right now people are in Boston checking out Chris Rock, right? He's doing his comedy tonight. I think he's at the Majestic Theater. And obviously this thing has its benefits. I mean, I was checking out the ticket prices. And everything these days, don't even get me started on tickets, right? Everything's the resale market. That's a whole different world, right? How the resale market works. And yeah, Tree, I see you. Let me put those up there too. Tree, you guys chiming in there. Good evening, fellas. And then she put this one. Yeah, talk about it, pro. So the tickets for the Chris Rock show were reselling anywhere from $600 to $1,000, right? For a ticket at the Majestic Theater or the Wilbur. I can't remember which one. They're basically same idea, right? Well, and I think it was that theater. I can't remember, but someone can tell me if I'm wrong and just do a search. But yeah, the place is, it's kind of an old theater. The seats, I don't know, what does it seat there? 1,000 people, a couple thousand people, maybe, and you would think maybe $100, $200 a ticket. Man, those resale values are up there. Everyone's dying to hear what he's gonna have to say. And so I've been interested in just listening to what people have had to say. And it's funny, it's like it really depends who your circle is. I go online and I say, it's much like kind of the left and the right kind of argument. You can kind of see where people stand on certain things, but I'm not wedded to a certain belief. Like I didn't just come out and go, oh, yo, this is what I think, because it's complex, but it's easy to just give the knee-jerk reaction, right? Just come out with something like this and be like, oh yeah, I know where I stand. Do you really? Like, have you really had a chance to think about all the different implications that there are, right? So obviously, to recap, I mean, I was watching with my wife and my son. We're all in our king size bed in the bed, and my son is watching, and he way before that happened, my son goes, Daddy, is that Will Smith? Because obviously knows who Will Smith is, right? So and he's 8, right? And so you think about like the impact with kids and adults or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, that's Will Smith, right? And you're thinking in your head like how safe Will Smith is in general, right, for kids, you know? And as it turned out, we didn't see that part. I started falling asleep, put my son to bed, usually around like 9ish or whatever, but I think we let him stay up a little later that night. We were watching this, and I want to say it was like maybe 9, right around when he saw him actually for a second on the screen. I don't even remember if we were watching it live either, but it was close to it, you know? And I was like, oh yeah, I hope he wins. You know, I was watching, sticking around to see, because I saw the movie on the plane. I was on the plane going to do the Chicago show that I recently did. And I watched like half of it. Then when I landed, I got back. I was telling my wife, it's like, yo, movie's so dope, King Richard. Like, can't wait to watch the end of it, you know? And it just solidified for me, like, and this is what I would have been talking about if this event didn't happen. I would have been saying, arguably, Will Smith, is he not the greatest entertainer of our generation? Define great, right? It could be personal opinion, or it could be just successful. And in terms of successful, it's hard to argue that there's ever been somebody more successful as him. When you think about, you know, the music, television, movie domains, I mean, it's just insane. And then the book, I actually listened to his book, the Will book, and I heard the Will book. I got my man Fly coming in a second. I listened to the Will audiobook. And so I was, you know, checking that out, and I was like, yo, this is riveting, you know. When you're driving, it's great. I don't know if y'all check out audiobooks or not like that, but I was listening to that joint while I was driving. And I heard it in like 2 or 3 sessions, and I was like, man, this book's crazy, yo. So let me bring Fly in too, because we're gonna put that on pause until I get my man Fly in the room here, because Fly is looking very mini right now. So we gotta get him on. Whoa, what's going on, man? You all stretched out. Oh, I don't hear you either. Well, that's probably good. We probably need you to jump off because you're looking like you look like you got stretched. So that was kind of wild. I never seen Fly like that, man. I was like, Fly, you have an allergic reaction or something? There we go. Let's try this right. What? Yo, that's crazy. I've never seen that before. I don't know what's up with that, but I'll wait on that for a sec. But yeah, so I'm watching that. I'm thinking, let me get back into what I was saying. So I'm listening to the audiobook. You know, I thought about how dope that was, and I was like, he reads that audiobook like you would expect an actor to, right? And I like the way that it's written is really dope, because it's. I was saying to my man Fee's like, yo, you gonna do an audiobook? You know, with Put 'Em All Shame. And it's funny, as I thought about it, but I was like, what's the real market for an audiobook, like when you're not like on that kind of level, right? It's like someone really checking for your audiobook. And I had started reading my book and recording it, and I was thinking of doing this podcast, and I was like, let me just like test the waters if I even want to do that. But he wrote his book in a way that it's almost like he said, yo, I'm gonna write this book so I can do an audiobook, you know. Just the way that it came across. There he is. And what's up, Fly?
Yo, I think I'm doing better now, man.
There you are. You're giant Fly right now. I gotta get all up.
Gotta get on this thing early, bro, to get it right. You had it right.
Yeah, you were looking really, really like large. I was like, yo, bro, it stretched you all out. I was like, could you see it that way? Did you see it? Did it come across like that to you?
It wasn't even showing on my side at all.
Oh man, on our side, your head went like, it was like 8 times the size of your head. It was like, you'll have to see it on the replay, man. It was crazy. In fact, if you go to your Facebook right now and you watch, because the broadcast on a slight delay, if you go to your Facebook right now and look at it, you'll probably see yourself, because it's like 30 seconds behind or so.
That's weird, bro.
It was crazy, man. It was monstrous. I'm gonna go to it while you're talking. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see if what I'm saying is true. If you showed up that way for the people, someone got to tell us. We gotta see what you seeing, giant Fly. See, now I'm seeing regular Fly. So yeah, I did it too late.
So yeah, man. I heard you talking about Chris Rock and the whole, you know.
Yep. Those ticket prices, right? Let me pull this up for you. Let me do a search, right? So, Chris Rock tickets. Right here. I'll try to share this in a second if I can. Here we go. Oh, that's the Baltimore, Maryland one. See, now it thinks I want to get one in the future tomorrow. Now I want to see the Boston ones. Let's see. Boston. Here we go. You can always rely on StubHub to be selling some ridiculously overpriced tickets on the resale market, right? What's it doing here? Of course, now it doesn't want to pull up.
You already know that's how it usually works, man.
Man, come on now. The whole thing like stalled out on me now. They're like, nope, we're not letting you talk about Chris Rock. Man, my computer's doing something it never has done before, so that's a whole nother discussion. But let me try this. I mean, I looked early. You know what I'm saying? I know what I saw.
Yeah, I still got the what's
Here we
name.
go. Yeah. Here we go. Let me see if I can share this one. I don't know if it's gonna let me share the one I want either. Nah, of course not. Of course, it's not gonna let me share the one I want. Bang, bang, bang. 549 from 549. Only 4 tickets left. You know what I'm saying? It's like, of course. Why would you? All right, here we go. Check it out. Ready? I'm gonna share this. So that's what we're talking about right there. 850 for tomorrow. From 850. 25 left on the site. 850. And for people who haven't seen this little theater before, you know what I'm saying? Like this is where he is tomorrow. This is Atlantic City. And then they don't have this one doesn't have tonight's on there. I guess it's too late. The other one I was on did. But this similar size theater. You know what I mean? 765 to 1200. So business is good. Getting slapped has its privileges, man.
Has its perks, don't it?
Yeah, man. Sure does.
How much? So if you had to estimate a show,
Yeah.
All right. How much extra per ticket is that slap earning him?
Well, here's the thing. Like, he's not seeing the resale market. That's what the artists get upset about. The artists are dealing with ticket face value. So that resale market, they're really not touching into that. Some of them are coming up with ways to do that. There's been a lot of like rock groups have been experimenting with ways where they buy up their own tickets and then they resell them. In fact, John Oliver just did a show on that 3 weeks ago on HBO. He talked about tickets and Ticketmaster and so forth. And I was like, yes, this dude talks about like some cutting edge stuff, and he's very crass, so my wife won't watch him with me, but I'm like, yeah, but just watch what he's talking about. Like, forget the curses, and he kind of put that on blast. If you get a chance to see that, it's really cool from the eyes of an entertainer. But I mean, if you just take an average venue, that let's say for someone like a Chris Rock, for a comedy venue, some of these middle-sized kind of places that are in the 1,000 to 2,000, let's say 1,500 people, and actually easy math. Let's say if they're doing 1,000-person venue, and they're rocking with $100 ticket price, right? That's $100,000, and usually the rule of thumb is the artist splits the gate. With most promoters, now big artists like Chris Rock can push that number up. But the rule of general thumb is the artist splits the gate. So at a 1,000 venue place, if the tickets were $100, that's what you're looking at, right? You're looking at splitting 100,000. The artist take would be $50K, and then of course they're paying their managers and so forth if they're 15% or whatever. But when all is said and done, they might be walking away with, let's say, 80%. If someone like Chris Rock might be walking away with 80% of the 50%, which is really 40%. So you look, $40,000 for a night's work at 1,000-person club, but the tickets aren't $100, right? On average, the tickets now are higher than that. So, a lot of these ticket prices are starting like $165 and so forth, and that's not counting merch. And, so for an artist like a Chris Rock, $100,000 just to do a comedy show like that is probably in the ballpark correct, which is why a college, if you wanted to get somebody like Chris Rock, where you're not really selling tickets, some colleges might sell tickets. It's just like a free event for the college students to come. It's kind of the same deal. And it's a lower risk for the artist because they don't really have to promote, and they can get closer to that full amount. In other words, there's no promoter necessarily. So in the college market, you could easily double that huge take, so you could put that up that 100K would be he'd be looking at the 100K himself and then discounting the 20% to his people, so you can walk away with like 80K. You know, and then it's a question of how many shows is an artist like that doing. So Chris Rock is going to be a multi-millionaire for the rest of his life without even trying, unless he just becomes totally antiquated or something like that. But with something like this, what a blast. What a shot in the arm this is. Now it's a little different than Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like Will Smith might have cost himself some serious dollars. So that's a whole nother thing. So I'll ask you. I'll start off with you then. But so what was your? Do you have a synopsis, an overall take from what you saw, what you witnessed?
Of course. of course.
I mean, I could go first. You can go first. I'll go first.
I'll go first. Of course. Obviously, I hadn't, really spoken about my synopsis of the incident with anyone. Honestly,
well, I have with humans, but not vocally, like on anything like this. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, even just with people, I have not yet to discuss my point of view or my perspective of how I feel exclusive with anybody, with anybody. The conversations come up, the discussion has come up every day since,
Well, let's see what Tree had to say before you get into it. The fact that the Academy didn't shut down that night right away really makes me angry. Okay, we got it's just awful. Fly, good to see you. And we got, of course, our man Charlie checking in with the Ivy Hood. Shout out to everybody y'all listening. But let's get right into it. No further ado. Let's hear the take, and we welcome y'all takes. So, in fact, if people wanted to come up and wanted to say their take, we'll hit you with the pat. Just hit us with a message on the chat. If you really want to get in and we kind of know who you are or whatever like that, or maybe we can figure out that you're a real human, I might bring you in. So, if people are dying to share their opinion, we'll try to get you in when we can get you in. So, Fly, take it away.
So, I personally have mixed emotions on the situation. Just watching how it all played out, you can tell that it may have not been his initial intent to, kind of go that route. I think he was just kind of feeding off, nobody really knows but him. And since he's, apologized multiple times, he's resigned from the Academy, so he obviously regret doing it himself. And so it's just like
wait. That part I didn't know or I didn't get. What did you say? He resigned from the Academy?
Allegedly, he resigned from Academy. Withdrew his subscription. That makes him a part of the Academy.
I didn't hear that. All right, cool.
So I don't know how true it is, but that came out today, just probably hours ago.
That's why I didn't hear it. Okay, cool. I've been watching Luca Disney. Oh, if you got the little ones, and watching.
You already know. I had to watch Luca, of course.
Yeah.
More times than I wanted to.
Tonight was family movie night, so we were doing that with the popcorn downstairs and everything.
Yeah, and so I felt like I understood his frustration, and I believe that this particular incident goes back, well before last night, as far as just like the build up for him, the stress, the mental part of it, the frustration and the anger that he had, and I just think Chris Rock would just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Do I think he should have handled it that way? I do not. I believe
Chris Rock or Will?
Will. I don't believe he should have handled it that way. From the Chris Rock perspective, obviously, I have not ever heard a good comedian. I mean, nobody's ever safe.
Right.
Nobody's ever safe. I've heard jokes that are worse when talking to people, but usually comedians get, a pass because they're comedians. You know what I'm saying? And we expect them to say what everybody else wants to say or nobody else will say. And so often when they represent us or our agenda as an individual, we usually no matter how terrible it is what they're saying, and we usually that's what comedians do. They're the voice of the people.
Yeah.
And so I would say that maybe he was ignorant to that she was really dealing with it, what she was dealing with, and just made the joke like any comedian would have done. I don't know, the comedic world, if you speak to them, and I've seen several interviews from the comedians themselves, and they all just backed him up, supporting him, and just went along with more jokes about
Right.
along the same line that he went.
Right.
And so
I'll be dying
like
to be at that audience tonight in Boston, hear what he has to say about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
yeah, man.
sure he's got
So
his jokes
crazy.
prepared.
It's
He
crazy.
might
So
break it down seriously too. He might break it down seriously too, because this is the first time tonight. I'm sure there's going to be footage all over. There probably already is footage emanating of whatever it is he just said at the Boston show.
Yeah.
You know, people
So
hit me up right away. They're like, "Yo, he's gonna be in your spot. Yo, he's gonna be." I'm like, "I'm gonna be here though. I can't. I'm checking that out, but I would love to check that show out.
yeah,
And just
man.
see if he keeps it like on some, you know, coming out, keeping it in the beam, yo, or if he's just really coming out and just like heartfelt and be like, yo, like it's kind of crazy. This is what I'm thinking. But you know, it's a comedy show. People going for comedy, so I'm sure he
He's
might
coming
keep
out like it was.
he
just
might
a
keep it
joke.
ounce
He's
of
probably gonna
serious
come
though,
out.
but then come funny.
Yeah, I think he's gonna come out with the whole look. It was just a joke kind of approach, because obviously that's what
He might get some
coming to
booze, right? He might get some booze when he walks out in the theater. I mean, you got to think people that paid that much money, they really paying that much money to boo him. I don't think so. I think he's going to have a demographic that is strictly there to see him and be very supportive. I would be stunned if he doesn't get a standing ovation when he comes out by the majority of people because of the way he handled himself. Now, I would say this though, before we get too deep into it, let's acknowledge a few things that some people may or may not know. So, I should give a disclaimer too. My disclaimer is I've said it to you. I've done 16 stand-up shows. I've done them almost all in Boston. Some of them were in Rhode Island as well. And it's a hard thing to do, like to be funny up on a stage, right? I 100% flip into a mode and a character. And I believe we do this as rappers as well. Like, I am not Professor Lyrical. I strive to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I am not him. And there's so much in hip hop that just get this out, because Will Smith's a hip hop dude as well, right? There's such an emphasis, and I think it's an unfair emphasis, that the hyper masculine crap in hip hop is like, yo, you got to be a tough guy at all time. You got to defend your masculinity. You got to. I get it, but at the same time, it's like you're not who you are as a rapper. You're home writing poetry. You can try to sound as super thug as you want to, even if you are super thug and you're trying to, but at the end of the day, you're writing poetry, right? And you can do aggressive poetry. You can do whatever. We all have done that. I want to punch you in the grill and snuff you before you leave the club kind of raps. We've all done that.
Right.
And we've all done the happy stuff. We've all done the peace stuff. We are people. And my thing with hip hop is it unfairly has this standard that everything you spit has to be true. That's so stupid. It's straight stupid.
It's the only industry like that.
It's ridiculous. It limits it creates this unfair kind of paradigm for rappers only, that rappers have to be gladiators, right? And it's part of battle culture, right? And battle culture is only battle culture because it was like there's only room for one. And so like it's the same way what we do to females. We're like the queen of blah blah blah. It's like, why is there one woman in every crew? And it's like, why for so long could only be one dope person from the city, as if the spots are so select. And it's like, come on, man, everyone in the world now raps. And like evolving with the times kind of thing is like, to me, is like, stop the keep it real rap. This stupid. It's like, I listen to you rap. I don't want to hear your 24/7 reality. You might want to hear someone's 24/7 reality. Take me beyond reality is what I would say. Like I watch science fiction, not because if I want to watch a documentary, and trust me, I do, I'm watching documentary for documentary's sake. But when I tune in to a show that is fiction, I know that it's fiction. And when I'm listening to rappers, I already know that most rappers are full of crap and pretending to keep it real, right? And it's like, just be authentic about it and be like, yeah, okay, it's entertainment. My own percentage personally, I would say, is like 75% authentic. 75% of the stuff that I do is true to me. 25% of it is either stretching the truth or it's aspirational. I'm not the person that I like I said, I want to be who I'm talking about. Like I try to like rap about excellence and self-betterment and all this stuff. Is that me? I'm trying, but it's like, I acknowledge that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know me until you meet me. And I just put that all out there just because it's like everyone's talking about this because it's like, yo, like you have your opinion on Will and you have your opinion on Chris and Jada. I don't know any of them people. You know what I'm saying? Like we feel like we do, but you don't.
But you really don't.
You know the character that they portray. And to your point, the stress that is in this world, I mean, Quo ain't here right now because of the stress that's in this world. Keep it a buck, right? Like
Yeah.
that's stress on a minimal level compared to, I'm not trying to minimize him, I'm just saying compared to what any old other artist deals with, right? Like he's got his own like stress, life gets you. And then being an entertainer with it, right? It's a lot. It's way more than most people think. We started this show because of the stress we were dealing with as entertainers and this whole thing that's going on. So it's the weirdest time in the world, but everybody's out to crucify with their opinions. And it's like, I'm just saying though, pump the brakes. You don't know them. It's fine to share your opinion. This is what I think, but I'm so sick of the people that are like, they're 100% positive. Just like every conspiracy theorist in the world, right? They're 100% sure. There's no room for error. There's nothing you can tell them. It's like somebody wrote today, today's the only day that conspiracy theorists think twice about the news that they're reading. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, maybe it's not true because it's April Fool's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, have that approach with everything you read, especially when it's entertainment is all I'm saying. And it's like, don't fall for the so and be a yo, I'm 100% certain it's the way it is. Just be open to it. I said at the start of the show before you even got in here, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just making decisions based on what I think and acknowledge, like you do when you do any kind of academic paper or something, acknowledge your bias. Okay, here's my bias. I'm a rapper and I've also done stand-up comedy and I like Will Smith in general. Is he the greatest rapper in the world? Of course not. Is he the greatest actor in the world? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's definitely the most successful.
Right. So that's why I will leave it. That's just before I even get into the thing. And that's why I just wish people would just say, yo, this is my stance. This is what I think, as opposed to this is what I know, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's me. That's me, man. It's just like I said, I have varying opinions. I could easily make an argument for both individuals, you know, but that's not necessarily like, I don't know, like, you know, I have my opinion. So my perspective would be just me talking from my point of view, how I would have handled it, or what I thought.
Right. What you think you would handle, right?
Right. You know,
it's hard to imagine.
Right, because how you think you would have handled it, but at the end of the day, which to your point, which I was getting to, is that you really don't know how you would respond unless you really just in that situation, man, in that predicament. And in a situation like that, you would think that stage would have probably been the greatest deterrent, because of, you know, the particular environment and the stage that it was on at the time.
Right. So let me ask you this then. This raises a good point, and you might say yes to this. Do you think that he went there with his mind, if anyone says something to me, I'm snapping on them tonight because I gotta prove my masculinity, prove I'm there to defend my woman because of the situation I feel that I've been placed in, whether it's societal, family, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he went there with the mentality or intention to do that. I think he went there, of course, with the understanding that he could potentially win his category. So I probably think he probably went in there excited, and looking forward to, you know, probably one of the best moments of his career. So I think he went into it with that mentality. Like I said, the stress and the reaction or the response, I think, came from a different place. Like I said, from a prolonged, deep into like suppressive state of just like the past 2 years and all that's going on. And like, if he didn't have that response to the situation that went on with him and his spouse, with that dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I know it was just like a breaking point in my opinion. I just feel like it was a breaking point. I think he went there to
anyone can snap. Any given time, anybody can snap.
And then, you know, probably playing off of the emotion that she had too. You know, they may have had a conversation getting ready that night on the way there. She might have said something about her hair.
Right.
And he had to probably remind her that, oh, but you look fine. She was like, you know, I ain't put on a dress in a long time like this and dressed up and went to a award show in 2 years since we've been on TV all the time with the red table, my head being bald or out the band. He probably just had to encourage her on the way there that night. Like, baby, you look fine. You can wear the long earrings. Like, but it makes my head look whatever. We don't know what happened when because he was laughing up until like literally to the point he got up. So we don't know what happened in between the time. The camera changed and he looked at her. Something happened right in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was going to say about the comedy part, right? Like, I know when I'm in comedy mode that to a point, everything's on the table. Like if I'm walking in and my job is to be funny, my job is to be on, my job is to be like, yo, I'm paying attention. Like you can see how quick-witted that I am. Just like when you're freestyling, right? Like I'm in it and I'm definitely, but I already know my limits. Like for me personally, I'm not going to make fun of any personal defect that someone has or something they can't control. That's just in general, that's kind of where I'm at. But you're here it is. Obviously, with I'm not talking about the disease, right? Like I'm saying your hair would certainly be on the table for me to say something. You know, like if you said something to me, I'd be like, yeah, like your stupid haircut. You know what I mean? Like, of course you would say that, just like you would in a battle, just like whatever. And I've come full circle talking about repenting for some of the stuff that I've said in battles. Like I feel like awful. It's a dilemma we all face, right? If you do battle rap, it's like how far are you gonna go? I've gone way further with battle rap than I ever have with comedy because I did comedy once I was an adult. I was in my 20s, started doing comedy, you know, late 20s, right? Started doing comedy. And I've been rapping since I was a kid, right? And so you don't have the groundwork. But the feeling of when I'm on a stage and I'm being funny, I'm in this, it's hard to put it in words. It's like I'm ultra aware, kind of like when you're freestyling. And when I'm in that mode, if I'm in the right mode, I'm trying to impress you with the quickness. And quickness sometimes can be a little short, which means you can say something that you didn't really mean to say. And I can only imagine on the Chris Rock side, even if you did know, right? I could imagine that it's possible that you would actually say that and then feel really bad for it. But here's the thing, and this is just me, this is just my guess. Clearly, when the dude went, what? Come on, that wasn't even bad. He clearly didn't know, right? Like all this, like people who were like, yo, he definitely knew. And again, I'm just like looking at the logic of it, unless he's tricking us, right? Because again, a disclaimer, we don't know. But the way that went down, where he's looking at them, he's like, oh, come, like he saw her turn her head. And he's like, come on, I'm just talking about your hair. There's no biggie. And then before you know it, he's like, uh-oh. And then Will's getting up. And it's like, to me, it's like he don't even know what he did. He's standing there like, what's this gonna be? Like, what's he gonna say to me? Like, why would he be thinking this dude, Will Smith, right? Out of all people, are gonna hit him over a joke he made about hair? Now, clearly, his response was amazingly self-controlled or whatever, but he's trying to analyze what the is going on right now. Like, was there a skit I don't know about? You know what I mean? And stop. And please stop with all the conspiracy theory, like this was planned or whatever. Like, stop. Again, you don't know. And it's like to even think that that's happened, you're denying all the breadcrumb clues that would show that it's not. There's no the amount of people that are like, yo, it's like, okay, bro, there's a benefit. Yes. Chris Rock show was mad sold out. It was going to be sold out anyways. Was he going to get resales for $1,000 tickets? No. You know, I mean, 3 nights in Boston. Boston is a huge comedy market, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Boston is like one of the comedy capitals of the world, you know? And it's like to be able to then do a show in Boston is crazy, you know? It's where a lot of people go to practice their stuff and to really kill their stuff. And it's just, I'm just saying, as someone who's done that, clearly not even anywhere in the fathom of the level of seriousness like these great comics we're talking about. It's just you do switch into the on mode and you're looking for the funny immediately. You're looking for, and you kind of know internally what your limit is, you know. And by the way, who it is that you're talking about is going to change that. Like if I saw you're in the front row and it's someone I know, it's like there's only so much I'm going to say about you, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? But it's like someone you don't know is like, and someone that's bothering you, then all bets are off. Kind of like someone's like bothering you, heckling you, or whatever. That's totally different. But you saw the restraint even from when he was like, "Come on, bro!" Like he's like, well, "What?" He's like, "Come on, that was light. It was a hair joke." Clearly, he wouldn't have said that if he knew, because then it would have been heavy. Because clearly, making a joke about somebody having a condition is Jerksville, right? And it's like, especially when you know them or whatever. And that would be totally different. Now, could he have faked it? Could he have known? Could he have wanted the cheap laugh? Yeah, it's possible. Again, we don't know him. But I'm just saying, it doesn't look that way. In retrospect, when you look at all the clues and you look at all the evidence, it doesn't look that way. So even if it did, so my take from this is what I ask you. So if he did know, right? If he didn't, and you're Will Smith, and you're like, this dude had to know, right? And you're walking up there, Is Will Smith in the wrong?
I still think that I don't think Will Smith was wrong in his need to defend, whatever. Like, I feel like he has that same liberty as a comedian does to tell his jokes. I feel like as a husband and just period, even if it was about his own hair, I just feel like he had the right to defend himself, no matter what. I don't feel like
Wait, defend himself. What do you mean?
Will Smith. Like, I feel like he reserves just as much right to confront Chris Rock as Chris Rock had to tell his joke.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think
what about smacking him though? What about smacking him though?
No matter what it was, I just feel like how he handled it now, that part I don't agree with. But was he wrong to feel the license to respond? Absolutely. I feel like he had the right to respond. That was his right.
In retrospect, right? I'm thinking if it was me, right? Thinking of like that's all we can do. We can say if it was me. Well, the other thing we can do is we can say if I was him. It's easy to say that, but it's like if you put yourself in the situation, is like if I knew my wife just felt hurt, right, and that I have the ability to potentially help if she's looking like she's not. First of all, my wife can definitely handle herself. You know what I mean? Like first and foremost, right? As can most people. It's not like the damsel in distress thing. It's like, again, it's a little hyper masculine tough guy for me. Like a little bit like you gotta go up and defend your woman's honor by slapping a dude in the face who said a hair joke when he may or may not have known about it in front of all your peers, and you're about to win the biggest award in your life. Probably poor judgment at best, right? And it is like, or snapping or whatever. But for me, it's like you could have went all the way up there, done exactly what you did, sans slap him in the face, and be like, "Hey, bro, we ain't good right now. We'll be talking." You know what I'm saying? And walk back and sat in the seat, and everybody would have went same reaction. But what happened? What was that? Was that planned? Was that? And then there would have been interviews, and it would have been the big talk on all the talk shows. Except Will wouldn't be getting the backlash, obviously, now that he's getting for not handling, as you said. Like taking it to the nth degree. But it's like it's like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, maybe you had a conversation with your wife and she was like, if someone says something, I want you to go up there. We don't know. But I'm saying that probably isn't the case. That probably is not. I mean, we think about that stuff. It's like, it's probably not the case. He went like this. It was all laughs. And then he was like, oh, wait a minute. That was a diss. I was just waiting for one more person and coming from someone I know, you never know, so it's a lot of speculation, but it's just like in retrospect, it's easy to say that if it was me and I really, really felt like I needed to defend my family, right? You can go up there and do the same thing and you can be like, and you need to make an apology right now or something else is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Or we got to talk about this at the party. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever needs to happen, because even that, you just seen your husband walk up at an Academy Award show or walk right up to the dude and say some serious, like, man to man, I'm looking you in the eye kind of stuff. Like, oh, wow. Okay. Like, thank you for that, whatever that was. But also, thank you for not embarrassing me and clocking the dude in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Because that could be a little, I mean, we've all done stuff. Probably. I know I've done stuff, current wife included, other women or whatever, that sometimes is like I feel threatened and I've reacted poorly to the environment. I remember walking on the street once when I was first dating my wife and somebody said something, I almost went nutty and my wife was like dragging me back, and because I felt threatened, you know what I'm saying? And I know she felt threatened, but she also felt like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so every situation and relationship is different too, because you got to kind of know, what that significant other would like. There's a line between, defending somebody and embarrassing them, so.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The way he did it, I don't think was the right way to do it. Did he have the right to confront Chris? Absolutely. I feel like he had the right. Now, from the other perspective, from a comedic perspective, to the other perspective, is just kind of like, man, I mean, like, we've got Helen Keller, Ray Charles. I mean, people we know with condition that's blind. I mean, how many jokes or raps or comparisons and similes and metaphors you've heard about blind people, or like Ray Charles, Steve? How many times their names come up in jokes, and different stuff like that. Michael Jackson hair caught on fire. How long was that a joke? I mean, people have always made jokes about people's condition, and it's just like you just don't know. That's why I feel like
in battles, it's like there are no rules
to confront them, because you got to let them know, like, oh, this is what it is, and this ain't cool or whatever. But from a comedic perspective, it's just like, this is what we do, and people laugh about handicap jokes and all kind of jokes all the time.
Right. Self-included. I mean, I talk about that. I've said stuff that I'm like, yo, I can't believe I did that just to win. And the thing is like, I'm not judging somebody else though. Like the battle stuff, literally the battling, it's like, yeah, all bets are off, kind of anything goes. I've always been like, not always, but more recently, I'm like, really? Does it have to be like that? Like, I know I've said some stuff to some people and they've pulled me aside after and be like, yo, bro, I wish you didn't go there. And I won. You know what I'm saying? And they pull me over and be like, yo, like, you didn't need to go there. And I was like, come on, bro, it was a battle. Like, I mean, you know what you sign up for in a battle. But it's like, okay, let's say it is a battle and you are battling someone handicapped. Do you sign up for that? Like, are you really signing up for the fact that I'm going to now, it's like, to me, that's about the lowest thing you can do. I know it's kind of split. Like, half people say, oh yeah, absolutely, you shouldn't get in the battle. And I'm like, oh, really? A handicapped person shouldn't be in the battle because they know they're going to get made fun of for their handicap? That's a bit tough. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a line on those things just in certain that everyone's got to have. You just got to have it, know it, and try to be as consistent as you can with it. I'm not comfortable battling someone who's handicapped and making fun of their handicap. That's just me personally. Yeah. Like, have I done stuff that's just as bad in battles? Yeah, I have. But I'm saying I'm not comfortable with it. It's also caused me great dilemma. And like, yo, I'm going to lose if I don't say this. You know, like, I'm going to lose if I don't. Like, this is the knockout blow that has to happen. And I delivered the knockout blow a couple times more than I kind of wish I would. Because in retrospect, I can think of just as creative things that I could have done. But that's just the obvious one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's easy. And it's like the easy, cheap laugh, to me, is like what the crowd is dying for. You know, and it's like, we deliver. We're like, yep, this is what the crowd wanted. And it's like, what a sucky crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is the crowd going to suck so bad? You know, it's like, well, really? That's what you want? Because personally, I'm inspired by people that I want to aspire to, not by people. I'm not inspired by people punching down. I'm not, you know, so punch up. You know what I'm saying? Punch up. And that's always dope to me. Punch down. I'm just like, you know, like, really, like, I've been that way for like 15 years, probably. You know what I'm saying? Where like, and I sit on the fence all the time. Like, yeah, if I go into this battle, what am I going to say to this person? And I'm like, oh, do I really want to say that? And, you know, I debate it in my head because I'm like, I'm reasonably talented as a battler, right? So I want to jump in battles all the time because it's a nice thing to do, right? Do things that you're good at. But then it's like, I don't really want to curse at them. I don't really want to degrade them as humans. And it's like, what are we doing in a battle? You know what I'm saying? Like, flipping that script. I love that. You know, so that's just me. I mean, but, you know, tomorrow I might go out and feel totally opposite and be like, yeah, I want to tell Fly's haircut screwed up and, you know.
Yeah.
That Will Smith's accent.
And just roll with it.
Will Smith's accent in King Richard, I felt like he was trying to imitate Fly and he don't even know you. he was trying to have that Chicago. He was like, dude, you losing the accent. No, but he was amazing.
He was amazing, man. I mean, the Academy thought so too. And so, you know, man, it's like there's a lot bottled up in the situation, man.
Tree got a question here that's I think definitely worthy of. Tree always has some good stuff to say, but I think this one is real worthy to think about. Let's talk about this one right here. Why didn't the Academy go to the commercial break? That's got me feeling upset. Why do that to them? I didn't actually see it live, so I didn't get the feel and rhythm. You know, I had to wake up the next morning. I literally, Tree, I woke up the next morning and I'm searching. I'm like, oh, I hope Will won. So it's like 7 a.m. and I'm like looking at them like Will Smith Academy Awards. First thing, of course, isn't that right? That's the travesty, right? You wake up and it's like Will Smith slaps Chris. I was like, what? I was like, I have to watch this. So I didn't go to the TMZ thing or whatever. I just rewound my TV thing, you know, and I was like, oh, what? Yo, like, what's going on?
It was crazy, bro.
And then I watched the thing and I saw the unedited version. You know, I saw all the F-bombs and all this. I was like, what is going on, yo? And then I read that wasn't edited for a lot of markets across the world. The F-bombs were totally live on a whole bunch of different countries. So that's how
Yeah,
all the
because I
footage
mean, you
came
don't
out.
really have that much time to correct that stuff, man.
No, but certain countries weren't doing the edited version just because that's how they roll. You know,
Yeah.
they have different regulations. And so that's where those feeds were coming from. They were coming from the countries with the different regulations. So I was like, okay, bro, like it's crazy. Fly. Let's take a little break here from the Will Smith thing. So I got to give you an update. So I'm doing the I'm hoping that I was thinking I can use this show as a way to keep myself in check. So I'm down 7 pounds, bro. So I'm down 7 pounds. Yeah, bro, I'm down 7. And it's sad that I can lose 7 and you can't notice. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I shouldn't be that heavy. That like so I was redoing the math here and I was like pre-COVID at my right around pre-COVID, I felt like I was in really, really good shape. I was like 196. I was like 196.
Oh yeah. That was great shape, man, for your height.
During COVID was definitely 225. Not only during COVID, 2 weeks ago, I hit 220, 223.5 on the scale again. I was like, what? This morning I was 216.5. And I was like, what happened when I did that Chicago show and I saw the pictures and I was like, damn, am I getting sloppy? I was like, how did I get back up to the, I was like, and then I was thinking about what I was eating, and I was like, yo, man, I've been doing the pizza and the fries and the, and really not doing the cardio. And I'm like, made a commitment with my son, and he was, he was like, Daddy, your belly looks like you only have a 2-pack. He's like, because he's all into you learn what a 6-pack is, and he's like, you only like kind of have a 2-pack. And I was like, you're right. I was like, I got to get at least 4 before the pool opens and shoot for 6 by the time it closes. So I'm like, I'm committed to Labor Day being in real good shape and Memorial Day being in okay shape. So just wanted to put that out there. So I'm hoping every week, when you watch these in retrospect, you go, pros lost a few of those chins.
Create some accountability, man, for yourself.
Accountability
man.
for the show, bro.
Yeah, man. That's a good motivator. That always motivates me too. That's probably one of
Can't hide from the camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it.
I was looking at some of the pictures. I was like, what? I was like, because you pose the best you can when the camera's on you, and you hold your head and you do whatever. But when people would they were sending me the pictures. People like pictures with me or whatever, and I was like, oh, bro, like whew. Like when I didn't really know the 2 people are taking a picture from there, and this guy's get you, and you're like, what's all this going on? I'm like, so,
bro, I'm right there with you. I lost 10 pounds too, man. COVID.
Man, I wanted to say when I was talking about the camera was stretching you, I was like, and I see you go back to normal. I was like, Fly's looking okay. All right, I see.
Yeah, man. I lost 10 pounds, man. I got up to 198.
And for you, what's normal? What's a good weight for you?
176, kind of like.
Okay. What are you like 5'10",
5'10", 5'9" 3/4.
5'9". Okay, yeah. Okay.
And so one of the things is this, like I've always just kind of also had like my base and my shoulders has always been broad and wide, and so I've always wanted to. And when I first gained weight, it was intentionally. I was going to the gym and everything, and then I got COVID. Like June, this was June of 2020, so I was putting on a little weight. I was at the gym pretty much every day. I had shout out to my homie Brad, B Rad, man. He was and we was in the gym, and he was kind of making a sacrifice, and I was just kind of like making a 20-minute drive, really get out of the way before work every morning just to get to the gym with him. And we're working out, man, and so. I'm heading in the right direction, man, and then the COVID hit me, bro, and I ain't been the same since.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, my wife was like, "Honey, I don't want you to lose weight." That's what they tell you, right? And so she's just like, because for the longest, man, I was like 135. I was like a kid. I'm like, man, I got kids that weigh that much. So I'm like, I can't be 135 as an adult. Right. And so, like, I got like 24, 25. I guess I kind of gained weight from then on. But then I got intentional about gaining weight, just kind of like muscle mass and getting in the gym and stuff like that. And then, so that was 2 years ago. And then COVID hit, bro. It was just like,
yeah,
it was a wrap.
And then you start looking and you're like, I got to get back a little bit towards normality.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. And I keep telling myself, man, I'm going to get back in the gym.
I've been in the gym every day for like 3 weeks, but the first part of those weeks, it just wasn't any cardio going. I was just still, I did a lot. I've done a lot of lifting over COVID. I haven't done any cardio until like really recent. I mean, a little, I'd go on the elliptical for like 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd go like, I'd look at the certain weight room and be like, too many people down there. Let me go on the elliptical for 5 minutes. Let me go on the treadmill for 10 minutes, but I go in now, I go in the morning. I'm in the hoop court in the morning for like 40 minutes, and then I go lift, and then I go upstairs, and then I do cardio, and then I might come down and do a little bit more basketball. And recently I've been going back at night, a couple nights a week too, going back at night. And then the weekends I'm doing basketball. I play basketball, and I'm doing this umpiring stuff, and it's like, I'm where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely and just eating better. And but at the same time, it's like I could there's still a whole nother gear that I really haven't hit, So I'm like,
man. That's the gear that's the hardest, man. For me, man, it's just like finding the time, bro.
It's always time. Yeah.
Man, for me, really finding the energy and the time, more energy than time. I probably could make the time if I had the energy, but I'd be so tired.
The energy days,
working all day and all night, man, like 10 plus hours a day. All that kind of stuff. And then it's every day, 6 days a week for the most part now, feels like, because of the staff issues and stuff that I'm having. Of course, I just got back from Nashville yesterday.
Right.
And it was really a business trip. Like it wasn't really much leisure involved in it at all. And so I didn't get a lot of sleep because on the way there I had a flight leaving at 5 a.m. So I'm up at 4. And on the way back I had a flight leaving at 5 a.m. So I'm up at 3. And straight back here, got back home in the middle of the day. So it was like, man, first thing I got to see.
Eyes feel a little heavy. A little heavy.
And the first thing I got to do is I got to make sure I'm available for when my kids get home because they ain't seen me in a few days. So I'm like, I just can't nap right now. You know what I'm saying? And then I had been on the phone for like a week or so back and forth with the sales guy from God Gear to get my bike. And so I finally got back home. I finally got the guy on the phone. Finally got my finance guy to call me and was just like, man, okay, this is what X, Y, and Z. This is gonna be your payments and all that. And they was like, come get the bike. So I went and got the bike. All this happened just yesterday. I was in Nashville yesterday morning. Got home and like
was it as country as you thought it was gonna be, or was it
I expected it to be lively, but it was way more live than I thought it was gonna be, bro. Like, bro, it was. Listen. So Tuesday, the Predators had a hockey game. Of course, this is a huge hockey town, right? Hockey and football. So on Broadway, which is downtown, like the busiest street, I guess it's probably like the equivalent of like Sunset Boulevard. In LA or definitely would be the equivalent to the Madison Square Garden and that whole area, Times Square. So this is their version of Times Square. Like there's literally bars
everywhere. Yeah.
Multiple blocks.
Yeah.
And there's every building is pretty much a bar.
Yeah, it's filled with country music.
And all the buildings like no exaggeration, bro. Like every building is either a bar or a shop that sells boots, cowboy boots, and hats, and then it's another bar. It's bar. All these bars sell food and sell liquor, and they all have stages in them. They're all playing live music. It was literally 25 to 50 people performing at the same time on Broadway in maybe a New York City block.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy. I never seen nothing like it. It was crazy, and it started at 11 o'clock. Our meetings were at 1 and 9. So the one day was at 1, and the next day was earlier in the day because everybody was supposed to get back to their unit late Thursday or something like that. And at 11 o'clock every day, like clockwork, you start hearing guitar strumming. You start hearing, and every single one of those clubs had a live band. Some of these buildings had 5 bars in it with 2 stages.
Word.
And I was like, man, wouldn't that be cool, bro, if hip hop had that kind of thing where you can just walk into a bar, get on stage, and perform.
Yep, but there's no city like that currently
there's
exists.
No
that
city.
Is, yeah.
There's no city like that.
New York's the closest, but it's a far cry from what Nashville is for country. Yeah.
Right. So what Nashville is doing for country music, bro, is unparalleled.
Yeah. It's a music factory. That's the, trying to, and I would always make the analogy that Boston is that for colleges. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
strips in Boston, and it's like college, 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 college. Like you can go find a professor at any coffee bar. It's like but it's hilarious how certain cities get set up. But yeah, you're right. It's absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, it's
That something
dope,
like
bro.
that happens, but it's hard. I get some of the challenges with hip hop. I mean, hip hop presents a whole lot of different challenges that a lot of music doesn't. If you're being fair, it's like, first of all, the fickle taste in hip hop, the way that things change so fast. Like country music for years and years and years, nothing changed.
It's
You know
pretty
what I'm
much the
saying? Like
same.
nothing changed. Yeah, it's like, and I know people big country. I'm like, I know nothing about country, but people big country fans will be like, oh no, this changed. But to the general onlooker, nothing changed. Hip hop changes like on a weekly basis. And then the larger part of hip hop, sort of like the big trend kind of things, like it's like a 5-year change to like completely what was in 5 years ago, completely out. And that's usually pretty consistent. It's like 5 years, 5 years. Autotune is stuck around longer than people we're going to give it credit for. Autotune has still become like a staple. Like when you're listening to what's
Oh
on
yeah,
today's music, it's like
yeah. A lot
Autotune
of auto
is
tune.
managed, like it's been like 12 years. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
Autotune, like what past the 5-year phase.
Yep.
That's definitely for sure. Which
Yeah, bro.
there's reasons
I
why
think
too.
we can do it. I think we can do it, bro. I think we can do it. I think one of the niches, I think one of the things that they discovered that's making it viable is that, with hip hop is usually associated with clubs.
Mhm.
None of these places are clubs. These places are bars that have something
Yeah,
already
bars
for
with
you
live
there.
music,
Right. And you don't have to pay to get in.
right?
You just
Yeah,
walk
they're
in.
making their money from drinking. You're just making money. You're promoting drink.
Exactly. And so the
Hip hop's
entertainment,
all about the look and the posture and the dancing. It's like
yeah. Which I'm sure you probably got some country. The thing about country music too is that everyone that I sing, every lead, even most of the lead singers, I won't say every lead singer, but the thing about country singer, well, this particular time that I was there and watching all the different people, because they had us doing like group building projects and stuff like that. So we had like scavenger hunts where we had this big sheet board where we had to literally go in and out of all of these different buildings on Broadway Street to
fine stuff.
find clues and stuff. So I mean, we're literally going in and out of these buildings. So I'm looking like it's literally, no matter how narrow or how small the bar was, it had a stage in it and a setup for a live band. Every last one of them. And so it was only thing you had to show was your ID. Was free to come in and out as you wanted. They all were crowded. I was extremely impressed by how lucrative the economy was. I'm like, it's thousands of people out here. It looked like Bourbon Street, except for
So
it was much
why did you
cleaner.
guys have to go to Nashville to do team building? Was that just they figured it'd be better, change of scenery?
That's exactly what the purpose of it was. They wanted to do something like out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
They didn't want it to feel like a conference, which that's essentially what it was. It was our regional conference. And so all of the big wigs were there. My DP, of course, you know how I am when it comes to politicking and the whole career thing is. So I had to go and shake some hands and talk to certain people. And
It's
I've
the baby.
already, I pretty much set myself up for the next couple of years. I made sure I put that out there and talk to the right people, and I've got the confirmation that I wanted to, just from the discussions that I had from people. So that kind of set me on my path, which we've been talking about this for 6 months,
Right.
and so getting to this
I talk
position.
about it all the time, man. I talk about this all the time.
And I
Now,
was able to leverage it into my favor, and so of course, obviously, I thank God for that portion of it.
yeah,
But just to see how lucrative the economy of it was, man, and this is just one street. This is just one street, bro. It was crazy to see
it
how
is the
many
street
people.
though. You went to the street though.
The street is probably. I can imagine that there was a street, and this is a Wednesday in March, bro. It's not like it's St. Patrick's Day parade.
Right. No, I
It's
hear
not
you.
like,
Just a random day. It's how it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
At 11 o'clock in the afternoon, in the morning, shall I say? It's 11
It's
o'clock in
like,
the morning.
I don't think anyone's impressed with anybody out there too. It's just like, oh yeah, here's another, like probably very dope for what they do. It's just like, oh yeah, at any given bar you can see someone who's freaking incredible. By the way, shout out to Sherry Gold. If y'all haven't heard Sherry Gold, she's part of the extended fan. Met her through Clubhouse as well.
She needs to be in Nashville, bro. She killed it.
I mean, you heard her stuff. I mean, that
She
I
killed it
got
because
the
she's
cowboy
different.
boots and her house. She like yodels and stuff. She's crazy talented. So she's real
Yep, she
dope.
killed it. It'd be ideal for her because she'd be the person that can take
Stand out.
country music and make it sound like
Yeah.
nobody else is making it
There's
sound.
people out there now that are trying to do that, but she's so authentic. It's crazy. I mean, she's got like this whole like
She killed it, bro.
country, like yeah, it's like country music. It's like good country music rap, you know. I'm very on the record. I don't like country. There's nothing about country that really resonates with me. Every now and then, just like people who don't like hip hop, they'll be like, "Oh, I like that," you know. And I probably like the worst stuff. You know, most country people are like, "Oh, it's terrible," you know. I don't like the Applebee song. You know what I'm saying? And I realize that most people think that dude is awful. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the people that are real country or whatever. But like, I find myself singing it just like hip hop songs, right? It's just like the song's trash, but I'm singing it.
Yeah,
You know, like I mean, there's so many songs out there by so many artists that it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, all right, like NLE Chopper. Pretty much anything he does is pretty much you could walk around singing all day. And I think he has a little more talent than maybe the average person who's just doing melodies, right? Like he's got bars, you know. But it's like, hey, you listen to like whether it's an NBA young boy or you listen whoever you listening to, it's like
little baby.
yeah, it's hard not to walk away. Lil Durk. I mean, you listen to Lil Durk for 5 minutes, you're gonna be singing those melodies. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's just like the songs are designed to be very simplistic but yet good melodies that you can't help but sing over
Yeah,
beats that are just made to be bumping in the club. And it's like you hear these, and if you're in a club and you're feeling nice or whatever, yo, there's no chance you're not gonna be singing that. So in country, it's kind of the same. It's just I'm not in that environment to give myself the opportunity to actually kind of hear that stuff. But it's just you know, they're really probably not that far away from each other. It's like people that don't like hip hop probably hear this and go, "What is this garbage?" or whatever, and they're probably
yeah,
walking away singing it too. You know, but
yeah. No, I agree, man. Environment. So there were some fusions, I would say. Not necessarily fusions, but so what you find is because we didn't see any like celebrity musicians, right? Because that was
Tree,
actually
that's a tree, bro.
that was
Tree, tell us how
actually
you
one
really
of
feel too.
so like one of the questions on our team building exercise was to take a picture with a celebrity or a popular
They all
musician
took
of
it with
some
you,
sort.
right? They all were like,
Right.
"Wait, I got fly in the
Hold on,
camp."
so they turned the picture of me taking a pic with them, and so everybody got 1,000 points for that. We couldn't find anybody else, and so
We got fly
all of
though.
these people were just local people, just like aspiring artists. And I've
Yeah,
talked to several of these people in this business because I'm in my bow tie fly mode, so I'm thinking
right.
live band and live instruments and all that stuff. So I'm kind of
Absolutely.
like,
I knew that's
you
where you
know,
were.
engaging these people as I talk to them, just kind of get a feel for who they are, and just kind of like what they do and kind of like what they would charge, or just different stuff like that. And these are just people who are full-time musicians. Like this is all we do. We show up at these different venues, we play, and we play for tips. Man, I know that one night, some Molly Shred, some guy, whoever that guy she had playing the lead guitar was sick, bro. And I know they made every bit about $1,500, bro, that night just sitting there playing. But most of the stuff they did, to your point, was just cover music.
Yeah.
And so she had some original stuff, but she was just taking requests all night. $100 requests, $20 requests, $10 requests, and she did that for probably like 2 or 3 hours. It was right across from the venue that we use for our meeting and stuff. And it just made it interesting to me to see that like the economy, the ecosystem of country music, man, is unparalleled in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I've never seen nothing like it.
Yeah. There was
Never seen nothing like it.
yeah, I did a lot of street performing in Boston for about probably like 3 years and then but it was at a time when CDs sold, so it was like 2004, 5, 6, right? Like in that time where you had a CD, you could sell the CD. If you had a shirt, you could sell the shirt. So I was selling shirts and CDs, and I was also in the transition of leaving high school teaching and trying to switch into going for my master's and then doing college like full time, right? And in that window, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the full time rapper stuff. But I did the full time rapper stuff knowing very well that it wasn't sustainable for very long.
Right.
I was like, if I can make 30 grand this year doing hip hop and maybe collecting some unemployment, right? I was scamming everything, sell shirts and sell CD. And that's what I did. I strung it all together and then picked up a couple adjunct teaching positions. I was also reffing basketball in the summer, right? And probably when all was said and done, maybe made 60 grand. being a quote unquote full-time rapper. But really, even then, it was the gig economy. You know, I'm still reffing in the summer. I'm still collecting unemployment from the other job that I was at when I left high school. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and because I was year to year, I had a contract that whenever they could cancel the contract, I could literally collect unemployment if I wanted to. You know, and thanks to mom for hooking that up. You know what I mean? And like knowing how to kind of run all that kind of stuff. And I felt no shame in it because it was like, yo, you're not giving me a full-time, long-term contract. I was like, cool. Then I'm 9 months. And then for those 3 months, I'll be making like 75% of my money over the summer. Kind of worked for me. You know, I had no problem with it. But then I was like, I knew I needed to make the jump. I was like, okay. So 4 or 5 into 6. I was like, that's all I was doing, you know? And then I didn't actually get a full-time job until 2010. So technically, I was doing 5 years of no full-time job, just rap as being the primary thing. That's when I was promoting a lot of shows and blah, 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 right? Rapping and doing. You can sell. I mean, if you're good and you got a product and you're reasonably, you know, interactive with people, you know, if you're willing to stand out in the middle and freestyle when there's B-boys dancing around you and you got shirts and you got whatever, you can easily go home. And even then, at that time, when the economy is different, you could easily go. I was every day I say to myself, I was like, okay, I'm not going home until I sell $100 worth of CDs minimum. And I'm not going home until I make $200 every day. And you do that for a long time, you know, but that's only $200. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but $200 times 5, it's like, okay, that's good. It's not gonna you're not gonna do anything earth shattering. And you're gonna get to a point where it's like, yo, I'm working really, really hard being a street performer. And, you know, I look at street performers in the way that you said it too. It's like, yeah, but they gotta be dedicated to that schedule. They can't do it every single night in most cases, you know, unless they're like you said, this guitarist is like other world talent. You have to be good enough so that when a tourist comes through, they go, who is that? I want to get a piece of that. You know,
this guy was cold, bro. It don't matter what request, bro. And I know, so half the people that was in this particular place, like I said, it's just like Bourbon Street. You can walk in, like, all the doors are wide open. Like,
wide open, yeah, right.
Right. So you walk in, you can hear what's going on. You can see.
I've been, but I was a long time ago when I was out there.
Yeah, and so like we're walking into this place because one of the things that we had to do was our divisional president. She was posted up in this particular bar called Bootleggers Inn. And so one of the main things was we had to find her to take a picture with her. We didn't know she was in the Bootleggers Inn until we found her. So once all the teams started finding her, everybody just kind of like stayed there. And the band was just exceptional. And this is where the guitars was. And I'm just like fascinated at how no matter who was there. And I know for a fact that these people that were requesting songs weren't from there because they were with us. And so they're just like, hey, play this. And I mean, like, without missing a beat. And it was kind of, you start to hear some requests like from some rock, like Sweet Home Alabama, and just kind of stuff they started requesting and stuff like that. They kind of had that fusion of country, kind of borderline country rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so this band was cranking it out, man. It was a drummer, a bass player who was kind of singing backup, and then this lead guitarist, and then the female artist was the singer, and she played the acoustic guitar. And no matter what song people requested, they did not miss a beat, they did not miss a melody, they did not miss a note, they did not miss a lead guitar session. I'm just like, when do y'all have time to practice?
Yeah, well, that
if
is
y'all
right.
Playing this often, like to your point, when you're a street performer, of course you got to have to be that good. Y'all had to been playing with each other, forever, bro.
In Boston too, like place, it's different than Nashville because Boston can only sustain that in the summer. I was only doing that in the summer, you know. And it's like I would say this to other artists. I go, "What is your plan?" You know what I'm saying? Like what is your being like? If you're not, you have to either be willing to travel all the time, right? Or you have to do something else. You have to have something else. You cannot live in the city. You can't do what I was doing. Live in the city that I live in, essentially not traveling outside of the domestic USA, right? And not traveling and trying to get away with not traveling as much as possible without having some other kind of anchor. Promotions can help, you know, which I was doing as well, but you have to have some other thing. And I would be like, what's the this is the question for everybody. We talk about this all the time. What is the thing that you can do for any artist, no matter where you live, that you can do that doesn't hamper your ability to be an artist, that actually enhances it, that can be connected to it, that still allows you more time than the average human has from their 9 to 5. Or you're doing what Fly's doing, is like you work in a job that is a lot, but you above the average pay salary, and you store in those acorns, and you're storing, and
Yes.
you're trying to create an exit plan for like, okay, let me build this up, and let me make my next launch so that I can get back to a place where the hours start to come down. Those are cool too. And we all got to think this out, like mathematically, like what age am I?
Yeah.
And how much. It's just like what people say with investing, right? Investing, you obviously risk more when you're younger, you risk less when you're older, because if that stuff goes to crap when you're older, you're done. You know
It's
what I'm
hard
saying?
to
Like,
get it back.
yeah. So the standard rule of thumb with free investment advice from Pro. I am not an investor. I'm just telling you. 10% is what
you advice.
Right. 10% is what you should be striving for, and you can make that in the stock market when you're younger, right? And you can also lose a lot of stocks, but on the average, stocks go up and they stay up for quite a long time. They take valleys and peaks, but if you're in it for a slightly long run and you're investing a little bit more aggressively when you're younger, you can get 10% returns. As you get older, shoot for like 5%, and you can do that in the bond market, right? You can do it. You go into the bond market and you come down to the 5% mark. But the deal is to have enough money saved away. And by the way, just on the math, just for people out there, if you could ever find a way to save 60 grand, if you could ever take I know 60 grand's a lot, but if you could have 60 grand, really the number comes out to about 65,000. If you could have 65,000 and put that in the bank sometime in your 20s, you could live to retirement for the rest of your life if you can invest that when you're in your 20s, and the return on that investment every year alone, if you start that, if you just take this one big wad, 65K, and you put it in the bank and you can get about 10%, and you can shift it to 5 as you get older, you'd probably be in the market of somewhere around $180,000 a year you could be making in your twilight years just off the interest alone. So this is what investors do, right? They figure out the calculation for you, and they say this is the amount of money you need to be putting in this amount of time. Like, you hear the person go, they're like, okay, I want $1 million. Okay, this is what you got to do to make $1 million, right? But that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying all this to say that all of us need to have some kind of a plan that's logical and based in like where you are. Are you 20 or are you 80? You know what I'm saying? With your investment plan, and those are going to differ depending on what you're doing, right? But if you're like 80, you got to be thinking to yourself, and I'm being serious with these numbers. I'm like, when we don't think about when we're going to be 80 all the time, right? But you should be like, okay, when you're 80, are you going to be working? No. When you're 80, you're going to be able to be doing side hustles? Maybe, but not many, right? It's like
Hopefully not.
right. So you got to say, by the time I'm 80, it's passive income or nothing, right? It's got to be investment, return on investments, right? Passive income. When does the passive income need to be 100% of your income? In other words, right? And it's like, okay, but most people, they start retirement age, and it goes up every year. People are younger and younger, even though they're older and older. Right? Retirement age now is up pretty close to 70 now, and back in the day it was like 60, right? So it's pretty close to 70 now, and by the time most of us get up to that age, it'll probably be closer to 80, truth be told. And so it's like you're thinking about these numbers and say, even for an artist, okay, what is your plan to do this, to actually take it up? But how are you going to get there realistically with the amount of time that's in the day? Because we're even saying the thing, and then the stress level, and then like, what is it like when you're on the road? You were just talking about going on the road for just like one trip, and it's like, yo, I get these conversations all the time, and I'm like, what's the magic number for you? Don't give me superstar stuff. Just give me the magic number that you think could really pay the bills for how many shows you'd have to do at X amount of dollars per year. I ask that to people all the time. And I'm like, okay, what's your plan to get you to be someone who people want to pay to see you X amount of times a year? Like, what is the freaking plan for that? Most people cannot tell you that. Put it into words.
Got to have a plan. Got to have a plan, which, we talk about that all the time, man.
All the time.
Plan.
Yep.
How to get there. For me, if to speak from just that perspective, like you were talking about, for myself, my plan is, I'm 34 presently, and so my plan is to maximize my earning potential while in my youth, so that I can, like you said, in retrospect, level out the playing field. Where for me, it's just more about getting to a point where I get more of my time back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, which I would probably be closer to getting my time back if it wasn't just for the pandemic and all that's happened with just like everyday people were not working like they would. And so I had to strategically get to this place. And like you said, you was there the whole process. Like, so you remember before and now. And so just strategically having to get to this place where I can, when my salary was comfortable enough where I didn't have to worry about anything. I not had to worry about my wife. And that was part of the equation too, Pro, was just like, I asked myself that same question from a career perspective, like what was that number where my wife didn't have to work at all and I could still take care of everything and continue to progress my family. And then everything she did was a bonus. And now I'm also thinking about my money too, like in the sense that I still want to do music, but I need income for that too. To be able to invest in my music so that when I get to that point, like you said, to grow my brand so that people can get to the point to where, okay, we want you. And kind of like you said, just like anything else, just like allowing it to pay for itself. You know what I'm saying? But you got to have a plan to build towards that. And so working in that direction and just trying to figure out, you know, for me, even beyond that, okay, what's the plan? I got to have another plan for that because I got 5 kids too. And so then as that plan evolves with me as my career, so my kids older, and so their needs change now. Now college tuition starts to come into play and stuff like that. And so I'm making investments right now, right now, into my children. So I don't have to pay for college.
You got to be, you know what, here's my plan for you. You got to take your oldest and be like, bring them in on that plan and be like, because you're handling the youngest. You got to be like, look, I'm holding you all down right now. I need the oldest to take care of the youngest and at least like do a little help. I'll help you now. If you can take care of the youngest with that investment, right? You know what I mean? You got to put them kids to work.
That's the plan,
Make
bro.
that money
We had
work
that conversation. I had that conversation with my eldest too, man. It's like y'all gonna have to help your younger siblings out, man.
Absolutely.
Mom and dad, man, like
that money might be done after number 3.
You feel what I'm saying, bro?
It's like, how do you do that, bro? Unless you got to hit that lottery. That lottery is one of them. You know, one of them gets that big scholarship.
And that's the lottery, bro. And I've found
free money.
I found avenues, bro. Like I got a son that my middle son, Jonah, he's 11, he's ready to be 12 in April, right? And so like he's very artistic. He's very artistic, and so he's taking a liking to archery. And it's
scholarships for that.
Right. And how many people are going out to archery scholarship now? How
many black archers are there in the country?
Very,
not enough is the answer.
Very few. And this is the thing,
supply and demand, baby.
So he's an avid TikToker, right? And believe it or not, he has like 10 times more followers than I have, right? And so he's exceptional at it, right? And so as he evolves with his archery, like he's actually also developing a niche and a brand as a black archer,
right?
Like that's going to be something that's going to be alone and is going to drive attention for him, to be able to appeal to universities when it comes out. And he just matter of fact, he was in the top 8, and he's only been participating for the last 30 days. He hadn't even really taken it seriously yet. He was just left state. As far as I know, his team just won state, North State. And so they have another competition. He literally just started practicing last month.
So is he watching any superheroes that do archery?
You know, he watched
Arrow?
Deadeye. I'm not Deadeye. Hawkeye.
Right?
Right. He's a big Hawkeye fan, right? And that's kind of what motivated him.
Have him watch Arrow if you think he's old enough. Arrow is
with the Green Arrow.
Yeah, but there's like 8 seasons of it or something like that.
Yeah,
right? So the entire CB is the entire thing.
Yeah,
that Arrowverse. It's the Arrowverse.
With the Flash
show's a spinoff of Arrow. Yeah, every one of those shows is a spinoff from Arrow, and so
we watched that a little bit when he was younger, but he never talked about it. It was until recently when that new Hawkeye movie came out, with the little girl who grew up liking archery because Hawkeye saved her when they were in game.
Arrow, there's but that's what people don't know about Arrow. Arrow, there's like 8 archers in the show. They're all like everybody he meets becomes like there's like a world class archer. The whole show's about archery, so it's crazy.
Bro. So he's in it, man. He's already good at it.
That's crazy,
especially considering him just starting. I thought about that, bro. I'm thinking like, man, there's some very nice schools out there that would give him a scholarship for that.
Now, here's the thing. I know nothing about archery, but I'd have to imagine that you do have to be relatively elite because I don't think it's a big sport in terms of spectators. And so these sports that don't have spectators have a tougher time giving out the same kind of scholarships or as many. They might be able to, there might be 2, 3, 4, however many people on an archery team, who knows? But, it's going to be the football scholarships that fund. It's the money that comes in through football that funds the entire school.
So I'm thinking to myself,
and basketball to a second extent.
Well, like the universities like the Ivy Leagues who don't really put a lot of money into like the athletic sports, like they're not dumping a lot of money into the sports
Right.
programs, and so it's
Right.
more about and so that's probably his niche. Like I said, I've been doing some research on, and just like, man, it doesn't take a whole lot. He approached me, him and my wife approached me with him, because like she's their ambassador right in time, which means that I'm probably gonna have to pay for it somehow. So, because usually when they approach me, like, hey, did you tell your dad about X, Y, and Z? I'm like, okay, well, how much is this gonna cost?
Right.
And so I'm fully invested, like you said, man. That's my investment plan, man. Like, I gotta get my kids to a point to where they can earn some scholarships. So if I got to buy a bow and arrow, bro,
Yeah,
and
man.
I got trees in my backyard galore. I'm like, man, you can go out there and shoot anytime you want to. I'll go spend $100 on the arrow.
Right.
I mean, that's no problem. Like, to save
like
me 100 G's at some point.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at basketball, you look at football, and it's like it's so oversaturated, bro. And it's like
So
and
oversaturated.
the funny part is, it's like all the big scholarships to the big schools everybody wants to go to. I mean, even look at the Final Four right now, right? Look at the teams in the Final Four. No shocker. I mean, all names that we've heard, like it's big brand, big box business.
That's it, bro.
Your Dukes and your North Carolinas and even the people who are like the second. I don't even remember who's the. Villanova, right?
Yeah,
it's like
Villanova's been pretty decent for it, and I guess nice little.
Who's the other school? North Carolina, Duke, Villanova. Who are we missing? It's another huge school. Is it Kentucky? Kansas, probably, right?
Kansas. I think it's Kansas. I think Kentucky got eliminated by St. Peter's or somebody like that.
Let me look. Hold on.
I think Kentucky got eliminated by St. Peter's like the first round or something like that.
Kansas. It's Kansas #1, Villanova #2, Duke #2, and North Carolina #8, right?
And you know what's crazy? That's the conversation I had with my wife and my kids. We all stood in the kitchen one day. I think I may have been cooking, doing my chef thing or something like that. Everybody was just kind of standing around. Matter of fact, I think I was making burrito tacos or something like that. And they were asking about just general athletic stuff and just things in general. And I looked at them and I was just saying, these markets, they all love basketball. They're all great at it. My son, both of my sons just got rings from the league that they participated in, the city league, for playing football. And so they're naturally athletic, fast, and stuff like that. But I'm like, these markets are so overly saturated with children that, I challenged them.
How many of them shoot bows now?
You know what I'm saying? So I challenged them. I said, look, find another sport. Find something else that you can do that you like, that you be good at, and let's just try that.
Yeah,
let's try and let's see what happens. And like I said, my son in a month been practicing, and he's already top 8.
The thing about archery, like this, when I was young, right? I sprinted. I sprinted since I was in like 7th grade, right? 6th grade, realized I was fast, right? My dad was fast, and so I sprinted in 7th grade. I did like the Kiwanis Junior Olympics. I came in second in the 100 and the 200 for our area. All the football coaches are there. And they're like, hey, you're going to come play football for high school, right? And my mom was like, nope, he's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? They were like they put the clamp. I already knew I wasn't playing football, right? And they were like, nope. And they're like looking at my body type. It's like at the time, it was like over 6 feet, 180 or something like that. Like wide receiver all day. Nope. And I wanted to play, but I knew I wasn't playing, right? And in my head, too, I'm like, I could probably go like a scholarship or something like that, right? And the thing here's my point, right? I did varsity track in high school, right? And by the time I was a senior, I was like overweight. Like I started eating, had a girlfriend. Like I didn't even practice. I didn't even care at that point, right? Because I wasn't my heart was a talent, but it wasn't a skill. And like, where I should have been killing it as a senior, I wasn't killing it as a senior. I started getting better at the triple jump and the long jump and the javelin, right? Those were like my varsity lettering kind of sports after a while. When you gain some weight, you can't gain weight. You can't get fat. You can't get out of shape. It's like archery, you can get fat. You can have an injury and come right back the next year, and it ain't gonna affect you. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole like football, basketball, it's just such a meat market. It's like, like if you aren't the fastest of the fastest, like you just said, they fast. Everybody's fast. Somebody, I mean, not everybody, but it's like there's gonna be like, just think of track, right? Like we had like 10 sprinters in the high school, right? They're your 10 fastest people out of your top 2,000. Every school got 10 people who are fast.
At least 10. Every school.
Right. I mean, like 10 to 20 that are probably reasonably fast. And it's like, okay, and then there's 10 to 20 who can jump well. And then there's 10 to 20 who can shoot well. And you put those together, and now you got some basketball and football players, right? Baseball, whatever. It's like one injury, a little bit out of shape. and you're no longer elite, even for whatever little level you're in. You got to want it. I was trying to find excuses when we were doing sandhills, be like, oh, my leg hurts, like to walk, like I got out of practice every single day I possibly could. I had no desire, and it's like, that's the other thing, people doing it just to get there. It's like, you got to like the sport too. Like archery to me sounds crazy dope. You know what I'm saying? Like if I would have known what archery was like at a young age, man, I would have been all of it. Now, you know what? We did have archery once in a while in gym, to be honest. It was like once in a while they did it was like rubber bows or something, but somebody knew something and was like, hey, let's get some bow and arrow kind of stuff, and you're out by the fence of the tree or something, and you're like, oh, go hit that or whatever. I remember that and I go, yeah, this is dope. Like archery, like what is this? Never didn't go to a school where when I was young, didn't know what lacrosse was. I got to high school and there were some people playing lacrosse, but I didn't know what the heck lacrosse was. And it's like, and again, but everybody's playing those kind of sports in the elite schools. It's too like, who's doing archery? And but again, and this is what the whole thing with STEM is. It's like STEM, like there's 2 million unfilled jobs in STEM right now that are high paying jobs that we can't fill. 2 million. And there's a lack of diversity in STEM. And there's a lack of women in STEM. So if you are a female of color and you're a parent of a female of color, you got to be like blowing in the air, be like, yo, this little math and science thing over here, you write your ticket. You're right. And it's really true for anyone in STEM, but it goes up and up and up by how many checks you can put off in the boxes. And
well, let me ask you this, as far as like what are the grade levels that you're allowed to teach? Cause like my eldest daughter, like I said, she's determined. She's told me she wants to be a teacher, school teacher. Of course, I'm thinking about.
What do you mean by allowed? Who you asking? What do you mean for her? Like, what do you mean?
So, like as far as the age group, the reason why I'm asking it this way is because she specifically just really wanted. She doesn't really want to deal with older kids. She really
doesn't want to teach older kids.
She does not.
So anyone can teach with a bachelor's degree in most states, but to be permanently hired, you at a minimum usually need to have passed the teacher's test and then hold a master's. That's for most states. Now for some states,
and it's for STEM.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about teaching.
Yeah, just for STEM specifically.
For STEM teaching or to be in the field of STEM? To
be in the field of STEM, is there?
No, you don't need all that. No.
Okay.
To be in the, first of all, there are some people in STEM that have no degree, just to put it out there. There's some people that have no degree, right? Like you can think about some people just have certifications in certain things, like STEM related things. We can think about breathing, right? Like people have to breathe. So there are careers that are connected to people just how well you breathe, right? And when you think of right, no, if you think about it, some careers are blood-based careers, right? If you're in medical, you're either fixing bones, you're looking at their blood, you're looking at their brain, you're looking at breathing, right? And that's respiratory therapy, right? So you can get into respiratory in a lot of cases with a certificate, right? So not even a degree, and you can have a pretty decent career. Now, those aren't the kind of careers I was necessarily talking about when I say STEM, but that is sort of the entry level for a lot of those kind of careers, right? You can get into, those are good paying jobs that are unfilled as well. And when I say good, you can make 60K, you know what I'm saying? And have, how many jobs can you make 60K and really have just like certification?
Right. That's above the median.
Yeah. It depends where you are. It could be 48, could be 62, depending where you are in the country, right? But the standard is you have a bachelor's degree in a science-based discipline. A discipline has an S at the end of it, so a bachelor's of science, right? What the National Science Foundation calls STEM is a little bit more vague and a little bit more wide-sweeping. Sometimes they'll say psychology, right? They start calling that a STEM degree because it's a science, right? But when we think of the hard sciences, we're talking about math, biology, chemistry, right? A lot of people get into neuro. You can get in neuroscience. There's all kinds of shoots you can go into, but if you're going to do biology, if you're going to do chemistry, if you're going to do mathematics, you have to pass the calculus sequence, right? Somebody who completes usually calc 1, 2, 3. And you start finding out normally in like high school, whether or not a student sort of has already the aptitude to be able to do something like that. But trust me, it can change. If you're motivated, anyone can learn it. If you're not motivated, it's going to take a lot of time. And right?
Right.
Literally anyone, but it's just a harder uphill climb if you're like, oh, a math phobic. If you're scared of math, you're not going to be able to do a lot of these careers. Math is the language of all of these, whether it's computer science, whatever it is, right? So there's computer science, there's math, there's biology, there's chemistry. Those are sort of the big four pathways that people can go in, and they take you to different places. For me, the end of the golden rainbow is a pathway that leads to quantum science for the future. Anything that leads to quantum is probably, and I deal with this stuff every single day, today included. Was on an hour-long call for course 1 in our module system, working on, course 1, and I was looking at module 3, and we're talking about quantum entanglement. How are we going to teach that to students? Blah, 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 right? And then we're looking at like, okay, there's this math that comes up. How are we going to teach this math to people who aren't very math savvy? So we're trying to find ways to bring people into these fields because of the 2 million people that are opening in the jobs. And we know the demand that's coming ahead. We're like, how are we going to get more Americans into these fields? Knowing the base level of math that we have. Here's the truth. Our math sucks in this country. We suck.
We're way behind.
Suck. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't use that word like just to be funny. Like, it's not a shock value. Compared to our economic status, our math is atrocious, right? It's like, how many people are good at math? Be honest. Right. How many people do you look around?
Most people don't like math, bro.
Right. So you told me you got kids that are good at math. You got kids that are good at math. I'd be like, anything you can do to keep, and I'd be having this conversation with them. I'd be like pull up an article, just go do just like, how many unfulfilled jobs are there in STEM right now? Then pull up another one. How many unfulfilled jobs for people of color are there? Right? There's all kinds of literature on it. And then look at the grants that there are out there and the scholarships or whatever. There's companies that are like, oh, we found a unicorn. There's somebody of color who actually likes STEM. You know what I mean? It's like, and they're trying to woo you over to get you in the door. They're like, yo, what do we got to do to get you? Because we need you, And so the tables have really, really been turned in the last few years. And that's where you can get $100K job if you're nice at one of those 4 things, can go through. And here's the thing. The bachelor's level gets you in the door, right? You can have one of those 60 kind of K jobs within a couple of years of getting out. If you can interview, well, you got to be able to interview well. If you can interview well, and you can get through the calc sequence, and it helps if you're nice at computers, right? There's a few programs, coding languages that people should know, but Python really being the first and foremost one. If you know Python, you know computers, and you can pass the calc sequence, you should be making $100,000 if you can interview well within I'd say 5 to 10 years, easy, and be making an increasing number of the rest of your life, and go off and do spin-off companies, go get a master's, watch those numbers shoot up. You know what I'm saying? And you'd be really good. And those jobs aren't going away no matter how good AI gets, because you'll be the person helping to determine what the AI is going to do. All the other jobs, I don't know. Good luck. If you got some kind of skilled labor job, everything that's skilled labor can be replaced by computers, robots.
Intelligent.
Yeah, absolutely. Cooking the food, might not want the robots, but you know what I'm saying? But all the other stuff, social, emotional intelligence jobs, anything that requires empathy, robots aren't so good at that. So there's that lane. And you put those together, if you're out there thinking and strategizing, creativity, social, emotional intelligence, and STEM. Put those together, you're writing your ticket. In other words, jobs that address the gap in the market that androids can't and probably won't be able to do for some time, maybe for the foreseeable future. Anything that's looking at social, emotional intelligence kind of thing of human beings that's needed, and that also touches STEM, and it touches basically a basic understanding of computers, and you have some creativity, sky's the limit. Honestly is. So Tree, I disagree with one thing you put here. You put scientists are the smartest and richest people in the world. The only reason I disagree is because we have you conned. We're not the smartest people. We're smart because you consider science what smart people do. That you can consider smart what people that do English papers do. And we could just as easily call them. I know what you're saying, but I'm just pointing this out for everybody, is that like, I don't want to give too much credit to scientists. You know, like if you get at math and science, that's just one thing you're good at. It's like you could be a stonemason and be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like if you really freak it right and have a good personality. So
Yeah, and be
no
a
one's
genius.
and be a genius, and no one's calling you that because it's like, oh, you work with stones. Stones are dumb, you know. But the scientists over there, you know what? Like computers work off ones and zeros. When you really learn an algorithm of how binary works, it's very obvious after a while, and you go, oh, this is what people are going to give me credit for knowing, like this simple stuff. It's amazing how easy it becomes after you've been exposed to it the correct way, and then you stop calling scientists genius. You know, you just like realize that science is just one thing. Now, I will say this: people that study science have trained themselves to be disciplined, fact-based, evidence-based, and it's a discipline that carries over into the rest of your life where you see stuff and you don't go, oh, magic, you know, like you realize that everything in the universe has a purpose, a cause,
Cause
you
and
know.
effect.
Yeah. I mean, it's like stuff isn't like hocus pocus, and you don't look at stuff and go, oh, that's undoable. But I know what you mean, you know what I'm saying? But I just always want to say that and keep everybody's kind of, you know, hubris in check, you know. like it's like, nah, I'm dumb on like 90% of everything I do, but 10%, you know, people luckily go, yeah, that's real good, you know. We all the same. We all have massive gaps, you know what I'm saying? I'll say this though, Tree. I'll say dope rappers though. What they have that everybody else doesn't is they're connecting synapses in disparate regions of the brain by using metaphor and analogy and forcing themselves to say, what's unique about this mask right here? And what's unique about this pocket, this pop socket, right? And I'm going to look at this pop socket and I'm going to go, yo, pop socket with the mask in my pocket. Like, you're like, I'm going to find the connection and be like, yo, like that activity that we do in our brain of connecting creativity things.
Beautiful exercise.
It's so that's what scientists don't have that either, by the way. They don't. It's not the typical requirement of scientists. Now, some scientists do because they're solving creative problems, right? It's either you're going to solve a problem, as we know, the engine, right, of creativity is necessity, right? That famous quote. That's one way to be creative. The other way is to look at a couple things that have nothing to do with each other and figure out their connection. Because what you're doing is you're mimicking brain chemistry, right? The way that synapses and neurons reconnect and reconfigure in the brain based upon you forcing them. And you're the pilot. And you're like, I need to figure out how headphones connects to the Infinity Gauntlet, right? And so it's like when you start doing that, and then you have a body of research on the Infinity Gauntlet, and a body of research on whatever else it is that we want to wrap it to, graffiti painting, you become a mini expert. You do the rewiring, and then your brain gets used to go up, and then it creates a fatty tissue right around the neuron.
And it's locked in.
And it locks in, and it gets stronger and stronger with repetition, and it becomes like riding a bike. And so when we freestyle, I don't understand how you're so good at freestyle. Practice, repetition, having access to those disparate regions of your brain that are no longer disconnected. That's power. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the rappers more so than the scientists, you know.
Salute the rappers.
Freestylers.
Yeah, bro. Man, let me get out of here, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Possibly hit it in the morning again.
Well, I'm just glad we started off with the will, and we didn't slam it over the head too much. And it's just like, you know, man, my thing is with that, just to sum it up, is I just think everybody remember, we all human. Nobody's perfect. There's a lot of mistakes there. There's a lot of hyper masculinity, tough guys out there, right? Women, if a woman isn't asking you at home to defend her honor, don't be jumping up to defend a woman's honor. It's so like 1905. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have to go save the woman. It's like, who told you got to go save the woman in the first place? Yo, that's how we roll. Who? Like who? Like who? You know what I'm saying? Like, you having that conversation? Like, have the conversation. If your woman wants you to roll like that, roll like that. Cool. That's your business. But just the de facto, you know, if that was me, I would. It's like, okay, man, it's not just you; it's you and the person you're in a relationship with. That's kind of where I'm at. Did he make a bonehead move? Yeah. Would we have? Maybe, probably, hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's. I hate to see somebody who's amazingly talented and has done so many good things that one stupid thing does change your life. But facts are facts. One stupid thing can change your life. It's unfortunate, but we really, really crucify. We do Batman, man. It's like, I saw the new Batman. we always turn Batman into the criminal. It's like, bro, he saved your world like 50 times in a row, and now you're gonna think he's a villain, or Superman, or whoever. Now the whole world thinks Superman all of a sudden just decided to be a villain. It's like Will Smith didn't just instantly become like, the worst person in the world, or Chris Rock, and I see all the women bashing the Jada and all the men out there. Jada's evil. I get it. I understand. It's not the classic way that most relationships are. And so we look at it and we go, tisk, tisk, that isn't for me. But you know what? It ain't you. So you don't have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's so much blanket statement out there. We don't know. Bottom line. That's my take. We don't know. That's
yes,
it.
sir. I agree, bro.
Closing thoughts on it from you?
No, man, that's the sentiment right there, bro. I wish he just had to handle it differently. I respect his desire to, defend his wife's honor. I just wish he had did it different. That's all. I don't necessarily sympathize with Chris Rock because he should have ducked or slapped him back. But
yo,
you know what I'm saying?
he stood back in the stance though. He leaned back like he was ready to, and he was like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah. So you tell he showed amazing restraint because he kind of lifted his hand too, which is kind of like, but you should have ducked.
He's like,
bro.
Did you just hit me right now?
Yeah, no, you walking up to me, and I'm like, he had no idea what was coming. But yeah, I'm ducking. So I don't necessarily empathize with him, but I do.
But he thought his man was coming up to say something to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he did kind of come fast with that. If I just walked up to you, man, and you were like laughing and smiling, well, you expect me to hit you? It's Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? It's Will Smith. That's the irony here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. It's like the dude who's done no wrong his whole life, and now everyone's like, Will Smith's the evil. It's like, come on, man. You know what? Guess what? His next video that he posts on YouTube could have 1 billion plays.
Absolutely, because everybody can't wait to hear.
Yeah, man. Make a song about it, Will. Yeah, make a song about it and donate it to whatever you feel you screwed up. You know what I'm saying? The bashing of comedians and whatever you screwed up, man. Give it to the Academy. The Academy's coming, man. The Academy's coming for you. They're gonna do something. They're gonna do something. I don't know. You were saying there's some news about that, but
the word I already went out to that the Academy was prepared to and the police were there to prepare to arrest Will, but Kristen wanted to press charges for bad.
I was saying it to my friend on social media too. He was like, "Yo, they should have arrested him." I'm like, they can't, bro. That's not how it works. If the dude ain't trying to press charges, no one's trying to arrest someone over a slap. You know what I'm saying? And Chris Rock knows what that would look like.
Right. So do you contribute that to the hyper masculinity of Chris Rock feeling like I definitely should have pressed charges on this dude, but because the whole world's looking at me like, man up, I should just take it.
Dude, anybody could slap me and I'm not pressing charges. If you slapped me, come on, man. You slapped me. And especially if I did something that I think is wrong and maybe in my mind I think I deserved it. Of course I'm not pressing charges, bro. Like, that's not masculine. You didn't do anything. It's like when people want to press charges on, I'm going to a lawyer because you bumped into my bumper. Come on, bro. You bumped into my bumper. It's like bumping into my bumper. I get it. It's embarrassing. It's in a world kind of view. Maybe I'd feel differently like that. And if I had something out on somebody, but it's like, dude, he slapped you at the end of the day. He didn't even feel it. I mean, he was acting like it was nothing, and so it's like, then what's it look like? If you go and do that, it's not a good look. It's just like man, I was saying this before. Some people, I've been punched in the face by a student, punched in the face, like literally, like boom, right in the face. I took it for the team too. We knew it was coming, and we were like, yo, I'll go in and take, because this dude, his sister was killed a couple of years earlier. He was doing a lot of trauma. This dude was telling people, I'm gonna snuff the next teacher that looks at me, blah 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 blah, and literally I had some female teachers and they were like, yo, I'm not even comfortable going in the thing. And I was like, I'll go in. By the way, he was like 5 feet. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, he'll probably hit me. He can go hit me. They're like, oh, he loves you. He won't hit you. No, he's in the condition right now. And we need to actually scare him back into the right kind of thing. And so because the school found out that a teacher got hit, they did call the police immediately. And by the way, everybody in my school was gang involved, weapons, right? Like that. It was like all the kids were like, oh my God, he hit Lyrical. Oh my God. Like the last person you'd expect anyone to hit. But I was like leaning my chin out kind of thing. Like this dude needs to have like an intervention kind of thing. And he did. That's exactly what he did. He was walking by. He said everyone knew it was going to happen, right? And I was just like, let me be the one to and I didn't even feel it, bro. I was like, no, it was just like, I was like, did he even hit me? You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing like that. And the security guards are going, oh my God, police are coming in. And they're like, do you want to press charges? And I was like, are you serious? Like, of course I don't want to press charges. This whole thing is to get this guy in a room and to sit him down and change his life. You know what I'm saying? He needs to see how serious the implications are. And it's kind of that coming to Jesus moment this student actually needed. You talk about taking one for the team. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying you go around and let people punch you in the face or whatever. This is a different situation. This was a child, basically, who had gone through massive trauma and was going to either go kill someone or get himself killed or at least hurt somebody who couldn't take it. You know what I'm saying? And that would have went down a lot differently, honestly, if he would have hit one. We had a pregnant female teacher at the time. You know, I believe she's pregnant at the time. I might be off on that. She'd just had a baby or whatever. But anyways, it was just a bad look. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and I'm not saying that to be a tough guy. But like, yo, I can take the dude. He's like 5 feet tall, like 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? I'm like 200 pounds, 6'3" plus. You know, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go into that classroom in the morning. And, you know what I'm saying? And if he hits someone, it'll be best if he hits me. You know what I'm saying? But all that just to get to the point that is like, people like, oh, I was so violated. It's like, dude, he slapped somebody, man. It's like at the end of the day, yeah, you have no right to put your hands on somebody else. I get it. But like Chris Rock has every right not to play himself out and be like, yeah, I'm gonna press charges. Like, come on, bro. And Jim Carrey with the come on, you clown. It's like I love Jim Carrey. He's hilarious, but he's like, I'll sue you for $200 million. It's like, come on, Jim. Seriously? Are you that uptight? You know, it's like, I don't get it. It's not me. Again, it's not me. It's not my life, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, some random person comes up and slaps you in the head maybe, and they kind of embarrass you in front of your family. You don't know who they are. Yeah, okay, maybe I could see your point. You know what I'm saying? And slaps can turn to things that look like punches, and punches can turn into all kinds of stuff. I'm not trying to give an open season for people to say you should just stick your chin out in general, but at the same time, it's like our culture is definitely on some catch a case. You know, everybody's like, oh, jump in front of a car and get, you know, it's like, come on, bro.
A lot of tension, man. So,
a lot of tension.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hopefully it blows over, man. That thing has been talked about. This has probably been the most talked about thing between the last week of the war. By the way,
I mean,
it's just like not even going on anymore because everybody's been talking about what happened at the academy. Like, there's a whole war going on right now.
Yeah.
People,
and it's like, we went from like all attention on COVID, all attention on the war, all attention on Will Smith, Jada, and Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost comical, you know? And it's like, like the Russians just went in and invaded Chernobyl. You know what I'm saying? Dug underground pass. They got like 100 soldiers who like have radiation poison and are probably going to die, right? And it's like a lot of people like, good, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like humans. You know,
right. And people, like, man, with
tragedy,
families.
Bro. Yeah, it's like obviously what they're doing is tragic too, but it's like you think half those soldiers want to be out there in Ukraine, like just killing innocent people. It's like the whole thing's horrific. And so that whole quagmire of horrificness, right, is of course people want something else to talk about. Watch. I know many people
want to distract you,
like, I'm not trying to watch this on the news. It's like this is horrific, and you feel powerless. And it really does touch into people. It rattles people's faith. It rattles because it gets into the never-ending conversation of how could a God allow this to happen, right? And it's like gets into that conversation for people. So people feel rattled philosophically, rattled by their faith, rattled by their moral principles, rattled by the fact that this is just trauma and violence playing out on the TV. There's a lot of problems there that people are like, yo, give me something else to pay attention to, you know? That's a lot of stuff. It's heavy. It's real heavy. And I get it. Bro. People not want to see that. So yeah, Will Smith could not come at the perfect better time, bro. As tragic as that is too, but it's minor chips, bro.
Entertainment, bro. It's entertainment, bro. It's entertainment, bro. People
and I think that answers Tree's question, man. Tree's mad about the commercial break, and it's like, somebody made the call to keep that there. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody made the call, and at the end of the day, am I happy I get to see it? Yeah, I actually am. Like, I wouldn't want to just heard about. I want to see that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I probably would have been like, yo, keep the camera straight. I just gotta keep it.
because it was good for TV, bro. Nobody was watching that. Nobody was really watching, bro.
I was just riveted watching. I'm like, yo, because again, it's Will Smith. Yo, it's Will Smith. This ain't. The memes are hilarious. I mean, like the one with the Rock. You see the one that's the Rock up there giving the award. Have you seen that one? Instead of Chris Rock, it's the Rock giving that award.
Yeah.
Like, hey, homie. He's like laughing. I'm like, good one. He's like,
this just tells you, but the memes to me just further justifies the point of the joke. Like people who defend the joke, which is like they taking real life people and kind of like put it in their place. Like I seen one meme with Ike where Will Smith was just like Ike and Chris Rock was just like Tina Turner. And that was a real abusive relationship in real life. And it's always been a constant joke. You know what I'm saying? Just like, yeah.
Yo, if I say name 5 abusive relationships, the funny part is you can't name them, but you could probably name like 50 in your world. But it's like in terms of like that make it to the big screen, it's like, yeah, Ike and Tina. That's like the one that jumps out. I mean, you can name others, but if I say name your top 5 abusive public relationships, it's actually hard. So that's why like a lot of time when like to Tree's point, when the camera's on and like we just saw like some kind of violent kind of act that played out in a civil kind of arena where you're not supposed to see. That's what people are like, because I mean, you think about even the Ike and Tina stuff, people are like mortified that they actually one of their heroes has been violently treated when it happens every single day in that world too, and people are hiding it and dealing with it. And again, we never ever know what people are dealing with. Never ever know. And by the way, last thing on the Will Smith thing, the movie. I mean, when he's going to find homie, and Will, to me, I'm watching Will like go, and I was actually thinking of that in this. I'm like, Will's probably got some pent up frustration right now. He's probably able to act this real well, right? Where he's like thinking of pulling out on this dude, and then the dude gets shot. And I'm thinking, I don't know if you think about this in real life. I'm like, I don't know if this was movie or if this was part of the real story. I don't know King Richard's story that much, right? And I'm like, if that really happened, that dude might have offed that dude. Like that might just be the public story. Like that's kind of a lot of coincidence right there. Some other dude did it, and you're like, yo, I want to investigate that. But Will looked real convincing, and then Will walks back to the car. He's like, good, got what I needed. He's like, solves my problem. That was
it kind of worked. It just like you said to him, it was just like perfect time. Like he didn't have to do it. Kind of situation. So the movie was great and he was great. I only seen parts of it because
the book's insane too.
When I was watching it, I was watching it on a flight, and so I only got to watch like half of it, but it was good. I didn't get to finish the whole thing.
I was pumped. It was on the flight. I was like, yo, it's crazy because
I ended up watching 007 instead.
Oh, really?
No Time to Die. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I was kind of stuck in between the two. And anyway, so I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I only got to see bits and pieces of it.
You see New Batman yet?
I know, man. I had a few opportunities to go watch it, and after seeing the reviews and hearing the reviews, number one, I didn't want to go see it just because I knew it wasn't part of the last 4 that was made from the last producer, director.
It's a dark. I mean, Batman's always dark, but this was dark.
And I kind of heard that too. And what made the last series, especially the last series of the executive producers and directors of the last 4 Batman, that was kind of like all the same people, was that it had some humor in it, especially the one with the Joker. And it was sinister, but it wasn't that dark. You know what I'm saying?
This was not a humor kind of movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I didn't want to see it. And my kids, we went to the movies.
It's not an uplifting movie, that's for sure.
We went to the movie Sunday and watched Uncharted. So we just all kind of hung out and at the movies. And Batman came up again.
We're waiting on Sonic, bro. You going to see Sonic? I mean,
Sonic 2, absolutely. We saw the preview.
We're waiting on that.
We saw the preview Sunday for the new Sonic. There was something else coming out too that I felt like was going to be.
There's stuff on Disney Plus now. The new
they're both in April. They're both coming out in April. It was Sonic and something else.
Well, he's all over Sonic. I mean, his birthday is Sonic the week Sonic comes out, so he's got it all. He's got
another movie coming out. I had to ask
Vacation. He's got Easter, April Vacation, his birthday. Actually, my dad's birthday is on the day his vacation actually starts, and it's like He's got the week off, then they get the following Monday off. Sonic's coming out. He's like, Daddy, I think we need to go see Sonic on the day it comes out. We're like, movies might be a little crowded on that day. Let's wait a few. But still gotta think about that.
Yeah.
But all right, bro.
I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this movie, man. It was Sonic, and they're both coming out in April.
Is it a big movie like that?
Yeah, I think it's a kind of big movie because we look. What was the name of the other movie we was looking at? It comes out next week.
Oh, the Sonic movie.
The other one. Not
Morbius.
I think it was Morbius.
Oh yeah, Morbius is out now.
The Marvel movie. Yeah.
Morbius gonna be so.
Morbius out today.
Yeah. Just the one was getting ready to come out like today, something like
I didn't
that.
talk
I remember
Marvel,
both
bro.
being
I got the Marvel release schedule. Like I got the Marvel.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Morbius. Thank you, son. Thank you. It was Morbius. That's what it was. It was
good man right there. Yeah, man. Speaking of Marvel, man. Moon Knight's out on Wednesdays. It comes out on Disney Plus. And I'm getting ready for Obi-Wan, bro. Obi-Wan's coming out. Like you don't even know what Obi-Wan's doing for me, man. Obi-Wan, we're gonna have, man. Hayden's coming back being Darth Vader. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy.
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So I'm a little partial to all things Disney Plus and Marvel, but all right, man. Let's get out of here and
All right, bro.
I'll see you soon. Peace.